So we have been given a quest by Albus to get a medallion that will lead to a promised land for Albinorix to Latenna. When we gave it to Latenna, she said we had to take her there, and that it's above the capital in the Forbidden Lands. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Let's head over here. What did I put down? All right, so we want to go this way. I wanted to look at the bird's eye view. This is where the terrifying monster is. Ooh, I never noticed that. That's good. Oh, fuck. Golden rune. That's great. We'll use those. We do have 20k runes. That is quite a bit. We're gonna want to be careful. But yeah, I've been watching quite a bit of Elden Ring lore content. I wanna feel a lot more educated. Ooh. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Please. Over here. Hello. It's rather chilly here, isn't it? My mistress sent me off on an errand, but I was accosted by a ruffian. And now I'm in a bind. Could I ask you lend a hand? Perhaps. That thug made off with a precious necklace. I need someone to retrieve it. Only, he too is tarnished. If you've any qualms confronting your own, I shall find another. Oh, thank you dearly.
We'll hear her out.
What a blessing that we've met like this. The thug should be resting at an abandoned home down the way. Please, I must have the necklace back.
So she's talking about Boggart.
The thug should be resting. Please.
Blackguard. Blackguard.
What the hell is wrong with you? You trying to start something? Piss off before I crack you in half. Ah, that necklace what you're after, is it? Well, show me what it's worth to you, and I'll consider parting ways with it. I'm not in love with it or nothing. You're a shrewd one, Chief. First, you hand me the runes. And don't try nothing, neither.
I could kill him. I could easily take him. Raya's necklace, stolen by a blackguard. Necklace stolen from Raya by the blackguard. Features a relief of a dignified-looking woman from a foreign country. It appears to hold great significance to Raya.
All right. Take it. Thing's no damn use to anyone anyway. Your bloody idea, mate. Don't come crying to me later.
Raya the Scout. Interesting name. So I'll run back to where she was standing so we can give it back to her. Come on, Torrent. Oh, I knew I heard something.
The thug should be resting at an abandoned home down the way. Please, I must have the necklace back. Oh, yes. That is my missing necklace. Thank you kindly. I am in your debt. Did I forget to announce myself? I am Raya, in the service of Lady Tanith of the Volcano Manor. I seek stalwart Tarnished, who might join our house. You are very brave yourself. Not only a steady hand, but a steady heart. Merciless, even to your own kind. Such strength is precisely what my mistress seeks. Please, take this.
Volcano Manor invitation.
Brave Tarnished. Seek the Altus Plateau, the realm of the Erd Tree. Most Tarnished are doomed to wander the outskirts of the lands between, peering wistfully at the towering Erd Tree. But you are no ordinary Tarnished. And once that is proven, the Volcano Manor will fully extend its invitation to fight amongst a family of champions.
So this is a Souls born, like, sort of long time staple covenant. Covenants don't exist as they used to in the old games in Elden Ring, but this is basically replacing what would be the Mephistopheles questline from Demon Souls.
Oh, and one more thing. Only for you. This land of Liurnia is connected to the Altus Plateau by the Grand Lift of Dectus, beyond the high road. But the lift has been defunct for an age, meaning there's no simple means of passage. Instead, you must seek the old ruins in the cliff. At the base of the valley, near the Grand Lift, there's an old tunnel. It was excavated from both ends, linking Liurnia to the Altus Plateau. I have faith in you. A champion through and through. I do hope that we can meet again.
Nurik says he got a job offer today. That rules. I'm so happy for you.
Seek the old ruin at the base of it was excavated. I have faith in you. I do hope.
All right. So she speaks. She tells us to seek the old ruins, which we can certainly do. Let's see, Academy Gate Town. I do want to explore that because that's a cave. This is a minor Erd tree. This is a rise. We can't enter here yet, I don't think. This is the Grand Spire. We need to finish Liurnia and get the Great Rune to do that. Definitely want to go there. Look how much bigger the map got from the start. The start was so small. Such a small start. And now we're all the way over here. Alright, we've laid down a bunch of markers. Let's go investigate things one by one. Torrent fell over. Oh no. Come on, Torrent. So that's the Academy Gate town over there. Oh, shit. Okay. I hate these guys. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to call Torrent. I was trying to heal. I looked at my health and was like, oh, I should heal. And then it just hit X, called Torrent. I'm dumb. All right, we're not that far. So moody. We should probably read the description of the Volcano Manor invitation. All right, right half a split medallion. This is the Halig tree. Brandishing the medallion with both halves conjoined will activate the Grand Lift of Worlds, granting access to a hidden path. In other words, the secret medallion will guide the bearer to the land of Mikola's Halig tree. All right, where is it? Thought it was in my key items. Is it not? Not my talismans. Where it be? Here we go. Volcano Manor invitation. Letter given by Raya as thanks for retrieving her necklace. Contains an invitation to Volcano Manor. Brave Tarnished, seek the Altus Plateau in the realm of the Erd Tree. Prove yourself by making the journey, and the Volcano Manor will fully extend its invitation to fight amongst a family of champions. It's time to go lobster hunting. This game looks crazy good. So that's a lobster. I want to take like one out. If I could take one out, that would be sick. Hey. This thing does not take a lot of damage to piercing, huh? Strip of white flesh. Is there anything here other than another lobster? Smithing stone. All right, we'll take it. Oh God, lobsters everywhere. Lobsters everywhere. Go this way. So those guys floating up there, those are harvestmen. They hang out on top of, they're riding like balloons, and they'll drop down to ambush you. Oh, the lobsters shoot lasers. I forgot. They fire pistol shots at you. They're like pistol shrimp. No good. We don't like that for a second. Go over here. What killed me? Huh. Did I get pegged from behind by the lobsters? Did the lobsters get me again? Let's see. We're holding on to a pretty solid amount of souls. I should spend most of it, but right now I'll probably, I don't know. I don't really want to keep investing in vigor like constantly. I know the meme is that like noobs will only put 15 in vigor and then try to fight millennia, but like also you should just like get good and like not take hits. That's how I feel about it, is like I don't need to have a ton of health all the time if I can just play really good. You know what I mean? So it always feels like a waste. Increasing your survivability isn't necessarily always a waste, but it definitely always feels like one. I should be safe in that animation. I don't have any poison cures. That's fine. Smithing stone, not bad. All right, made a little cash. Oh, the Knights of the Cuckoo. And then one of these war machines, siege machines, has been kind of destroyed and dismantled. All right. Purified ruins. Ooh, there are people over there. It's fun to walk around places like this because, like, you so easily forget. Come out, one and all, from the darkness underground, and let us offer unto the maiden our eyes. Oh, is this where? I think this is the second location for Hidetaka. They're coming from the left. Oh, there's a man. Hey, Petward. There we go. Things got dicey there for a second, but we're good. So I like the Knights of the Cuckoo because they're magically aligned soldiers that had previously been associated with Caria, and you can see it even identified in their armor. You can tell that they use magic or that they're affiliated with it because they have the primeval current on their armor. See? It's a primeval current. That's the source of all magic. Or sorcery, I should say. The believed sort of the equivalent to the weave, as D&D would put it, even on their armor. And then, of course, they drop Raya Lucarian outfit stuff. So they're basically the soldiers of the school. It's not 100% accurate because the Carian royal family also has their own retinue. But importantly, very important piece of lore, Raya Lucaria and the Carian royal family are only coincidentally aligned. Because the Carian royal family sent their daughter, Renala, to the Academy of Raya Lucaria, and she was such a good student that she became the headmaster eventually. Or the leader of the school, or whatever they phrase it as. So these characters are actually not necessarily aligned with Renala, Radagon's wife, even though they are the magically aligned protectors of the school. I'm trying to look for someone. I just don't know where they are. I'll find her somewhere around here. And there should be a way underground, as there always is. There we go. Because these are ruins. Pure black screen. Shabriri grape. 2 fingers heirloom. That's an interesting juxtaposition. What could it mean? 2 fingers heirloom. So it's interesting because it shows that the 2 fingers are not just the part that come out of the ground. They're like weird little guys. Their tops and their bottoms are symmetrical. Talisman engraved with the legend of the 2 fingers raises faith. Fingers cannot speak, yet these were eloquent. Persistently did they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of our faith. So yeah, the 2 fingers are not really even hand-shaped at all. They kind of resemble fingers when they're not sitting down, I guess. Would you say that they're sitting down? I don't know. I don't know if that is quite the phrase that would be most appropriate there, but it is the phrase I'm gonna use. So that is kind of interesting, though. Like it goes to show that the nature of words in this world are not quite what they seem, in that a lot of things are defined and given name in a means that we understand, but does not necessarily reflect their nature. This marks Millennia's southward march, the Blade of Mikola and her clean wrought knights. So again, Millennia, we can now clearly put together as the Blade of Mikola, and her clean wrought knights grant her wings never be clipped. So it appears that Millennia's group is referred to as the clean wrought. I have a ton of souls right now. Do I want to keep? Yeah, I'll just keep going with it. It's fine. I do want to look for Hieta because we have another Shabriri grape that we want to give her. I just don't remember exactly where she shows up. Guide and gatekeeper for those returning to the roots. Right over here. Petward says, is the Clean Rot moniker pre or post Caelid conquest? Well, given that they ended their conquest in Caelid, it would probably be prior, because this is where they are in Liurnia. They ended here. They presumably came down from the capital, and as that note just said, marker of their southward march. So going here, crossing this way. So Millennia, her knights were called the Clean Rot well before they went to Caelid. Oh, we've been here. We've been here. I don't want to put up with you freaks. Get out of here. But yes, Millennia had always been rotten. We'll revisit that information as well when we get to the lore of it all. But Millennia had been cursed from birth. Fully, unfathomably, irreversibly cursed. And as a result of that curse, part of why she took up her swordsmanship. Fun fact. Fun, cool little piece of storytelling. That we learn from different talismans. I guess I can talk about this, right? This is pretty simple. Because everyone knows who Millennia is, and it's not really a spoiler to talk about it, even though we haven't met her in the playthrough yet. Oh boy, that could have been bad for me. I had absolutely no health. So Millennia, one of the Empyreans, daughter of Marika, sister to Mikola. Born cursed by the outer god of rot. Of course, as we know, the outer god of rot was sealed away by a blue swordsman who moved like flowing water. And so, in Millennia's quest to stave off her own rot, Millennia too became a swordsman who flowed like water. Almost all of Millennia's attacks are themed in a very similar way, and I believe her prosthesis is a katana or a scimitar type weapon, a curved sword of some kind. So pretty cool. Yeah, she was born cursed by the rot. The thing is that there was a prophecy isn't necessarily the right word, but it was said that she would blossom multiple times, and the blossoming is really dangerous. And she was forced to blossom while fighting Radon. This little area, this fucking catacombs, if it's the one I think it is, we're gonna do it, and then I'll check right now if it's the one I think it is. It's not the one I think it is, I don't think. It's not, okay. Ah, jump scared. I knew he was there, I just didn't know how close he was to me, so when my screen just filled up with him, it was a little overwhelming. But yes, Mikola was born cursed with eternal youth in a young body, and Millennia seemingly cursed with rot. Which is bad when you're the children of the demigod and you're meant to succeed their reign. Generally speaking, you don't want your heirs to be cursed. It's a bad thing. And it's kind of sad because without getting too deep into it, the other offspring, the other Empyreans, the candidates for demigodhood, don't really fare well on their own either. They're all cursed in different ways as well. So Marika and Radagon just, they got something wrong in there. Nope. That was stupid of me. It's just a big alien proxy war sabotaging the dumb tree. Is it that? I'm trying to think. Sort of. The greater will itself isn't inherently any more real or important than any of the other wills, right? Like that's just that the logic there is just true. So there is that. Ooh. So it's obviously the greater will's inherent value is like debatable. It's just sort of the first one to lay claim and possibly the one that has gained strongest power here, because all the other gods are vying for, all the other outer gods are vying for control of this place as well, right? Like the outer god of rot is attempting to manifest through an Empyrean because, like, very functionally, because there's value in doing so, and because the greater will that we would think, like the one behind the Erd tree and the Elden Beast, like, it's not inherently untouchable, right? It's not infallible. So that's interesting, like, when you think about it like that. But yes, in the sense that the conflict of Elden Ring is in many ways the war of elder gods out in space, manifesting and fucking things up on a planet and using people as pawns. This is fundamentally true. The thing about Elden Ring that's kind of interesting, though, is that it is also mixed with that interfamilial politics, and like the vulnerabilities that make people manipulable in this universe are very personally motivated and driven, which is interesting. Marika was very fundamentally, like, nervous of her reign ending and the death of her children and the destruction of her families. The curse, the omen curse, like, really startled her. And especially without getting too deep into it, as it began to affect other people very close to the capital, like, that is a very scary thing for her, and that manifests her pain in a really interesting way. And, you know, without a character like Marika, who is mucking around with the Elden Ring, you don't really have the stage for the elder gods to interfere in the way that maybe they do. So the question of, like, who really is culpable for this conflict is interesting, because Marika herself is most certainly to blame for certain aspects of the shattering, lots of them even. Many of the problems that kick off the events of this game are self-made in a lot of ways, which is really tragic and really sad, but also, like, kind of a fuck you. Like, Marika does kind of reap what she sows in a lot of ways. But then there is, like, there's also an aspect. There's an aspect to Elden Ring's story that you don't see spoken about a lot, which is that Marika deliberately broke the Elden Ring again, and Radagon tried to repair it to the status quo that had been established. And neither of those things are good things to do. And it seems to imply towards the end, you know, this idea that trying to repair the Erd tree might not, like, you might not be able to break free from the conditions of this world without destroying a link to the outer gods and their influence. And that's interesting, because as we find out eventually, the Elden Beast and the ring itself is sort of imposed upon this world. It is an alien. It is not a naturally occurring phenomenon. And in fact, the blessings of the Erd tree may in fact be the result of, like, a parasitic life form having essentially taken over the religious iconography of a previous civilization in the Great Tree, which is really intriguing. And, like, Marika finding herself as a pawn in that scheme, and seeing that the fears that it stokes in her and the damage it's causing to her and her family is continuously intriguing in its own right, because it then posits her as someone who maybe has done wrong and is responsible for things, but also is sort of uniquely positioned to atone, which is very cool. I died. I'm gonna have to run all the way back up here to get my Get my souls back. So I think, you know, Marika... I think Marika is very different than Gwyn in Dark Souls. Gwyn... This is a story that Miyazaki has told 457,000 times. So I'm not going to act like it's super... super sacred to keep it secret. But Gwyn in Dark Souls, you know, Lord of Fire, as one is... he gets a Lord Soul, is heroic, sees in humanity the end of his reign and the end of the age of prosperity and fire, decides to pull, with help from various co-conspirators, decides to pull a little silly gambit where he kind of manifests a curse on all of the humans, especially the humans in the kingdom of Ulasil, who are getting really suspiciously good at taking faith magic, which was what the gods, which was power bestowed by the gods, and kind of just realizing that it doesn't need to come from gods, and that golden sorceries are just sorceries, and faith is just golden sorceries, just manifested through a slightly different vector. That's interesting. I could talk about that a lot, and no one seems to talk about in that in lore theory is like, no one brings up the fact that these games very strongly say multiple times that like the source of all magic is the same no matter the color. It all ultimately is the same thing, and believing in one over another or putting them in a hierarchy is like falling for a false information war. Like you fell for the propaganda. It's just two sides of the same coin is sort of the perspective that the game has on a lot of the way that magic manifests. But anyway, so Gwyn sees these people who are getting really good at fucking around with magic in a way he doesn't like. And he sees, you know, in Manus and in the manifesting of all of his different skills, you know, he sees a threat. And, you know, the curse happens. You know, people get cursed, and they begin to try and kindle the flame, because who doesn't want to live in an age of prosperity? The gods love us, you say, as you burn yourself in the fire and your humanity is burned away and your bones become kindling. And silly old Gwyn thought we would just turn a blind eye to the very real fact. I am speedrunning this crypt. Oh my god, there are so many omen here. So many omen here. Gwyn just assumes we'll all just... Not where I wanted to go. Not the button I wanted to press. I escaped. Eat my whole butthole, omen killers. You know, Gwyn figured... Ooh. No. It's fine. Gwyn thinks, okay, we're gonna pull one over on these people. After killing the immortal dragons who lived in a state of stasis, folly is their hubris is their folly. We're gonna do the same thing that they did, and we're gonna try to live forever in a state, you know, status quo stasis. And people are gonna throw themselves into fire because they sure love us a lot. And this is definitely gonna have no ramifications for reality. And that's really bad. That's not good. And in fact, Gwyn is the bad guy of Dark Souls. If you think that Gwyn is cool because the plin plin plon sad music, you're wrong. Gwyn's really evil. He's a really bad person. And this is just very heavily confirmed in the rest of the games, where reality is literally melting because humanity kept burning itself. And ages change, and the age of man slowly attempts to come multiple times, and cycles happen. But what becomes true is that the fire that we are burning, the humanity, as we burn even the humanity left in the world for fuel for this age of light and fire and prosperity, the very fabric of reality and time becomes unmoored, because that starts to burn too. And eventually we start burning things that have already burned. We become kindling. We become lords of cinder. There isn't much left of us, as we do this. And that's not good. And it literally results in the end of the world. Not only in the Ringed City in Dark Souls 3, but in the maiden ending of Dark Souls 3, where you let the fire fade. Because guess what? That fire can't last forever. And if cycles are truly a thing in this universe, then something new will come after that. And you know what? Gwyn kicked that off, and unfortunately kind of fucked everyone. So yeah, Gwyn sucks. And he never tried to atone for it. He just sort of sat in the flame and kindled it himself because he once again was too afraid of the fire kind of ever going out. Like, he just couldn't accept that it would. Even under conditions... There we go. Even under conditions where maybe other gods would exist or other life could exist, Gwyn just absolutely refused to accept other life. I lost 25,000 souls because I was talking while fighting. Oops. That's fine. That wasn't like anything major. That's okay. But yeah, so Gwyn's bad. Gwyn sucks. And the thing that makes Marika really different than Gwyn from like a semiotics perspective, from a perspective of like Miyazaki's oeuvre and all the other things that he does and works on, is that Marika is given like a chance to atone and does go in to the Erd Tree to ostensibly destroy the Elden Ring and forsake the greater will, which like is probably decent atonement. Maybe not fixing the fact that she got all of her children killed basically, and started hundreds of wars and killed thousands of people. I mean, in the grand scheme of Elden Ring, I guess killing thousands of people isn't really that big of a deal, but like she manages to say fuck you to the entity that might actually be responsible for all of this, for manipulating all of this into happening, which is like pretty sick. That's like a pretty cool thing to do. And she's only undone by her own ambition, which is something I won't get into right now, but is interesting. So yeah, Marika, interesting character, and especially in the context of Miyazaki's other games, because she kind of exists as a evolution of a Gwyn character, which honestly, speaking on that front, like Gwyn isn't even the origin of the Gwyn character. King Allen from Demon Souls is. King Allen from Demon Souls is literally just Gwyn, just a different take on Gwyn. But yeah, kind of interesting, just very intriguing. Bloodborne, I think, is actually still kind of the most thematically different of them all. So all of the Souls games, and then Elden Ring is different, but all the rest of the Souls games are games about greed. They're about what it means to try and take and prolong kind of your existence and like your knowledge, and kind of do more with that than it's meant to. And Bloodborne is a very interesting twist on that idea, in that instead of just being about like power, it's about knowledge, and it's about like, in a world where like, magic isn't the way that it is necessarily in like a Dark Souls universe, like where the existence of gods themselves, no matter how cosmically horrific they may be, no matter how they manifest, there is maybe a question of if humanity should really have any visibility into these things. Oh my god, I'm stuck in the terrain. There we go. Talking and playing is hard. Talking and playing at the same time, very hard. Dark Souls posits like, if you, like, your greed manifests in the relationship you have with the world. and like how the world slowly over time gets destroyed and bent and burnt. It's basically apocalyptic climate change is basically what those games are about, and how like the fear of disparity leads to the loss of prosperity. You know, things like that, like everything has a cost. Bloodborne takes a sort of different approach with that, in that Bloodborne is very much about like, if you seek knowledge for the sake of knowledge, is there not a cost to that betterment? And like that in and of itself is very interesting, but also like instead of just relating to the state of the world, Bloodborne is very interested in interrogating ideas of like relationships between people and like how we hurt each other, and how like systems of power and knowledge will just like really aggressively slip, I guess is like the best way to put it, and like become their worst versions as a result of chasing knowledge. And the greed for knowledge is what motivates like a lot of like really terrible things in that game, because in the end that's all really that is happening. It's like people arguing over like what the truth is, and like the end goal of the truth is what, you know, like what does you knowing that the elder gods exist do for you in the context of Bloodborne? And the answer is, I don't know, maybe, like, I don't know, maybe, right? Like maybe you become a little squiddy baby, who can say? I'm gonna die. Nope. Is he coming down the ladder? That's hysterical. That was very funny. But yeah, so Bloodborne's really different there. And then Elden Ring takes an incredibly different approach. Elden Ring is a very different, incredibly different approach, and that Elden Ring isn't really about power or truth. It is a game about like the fears of loss and like how societies crumble and come together, and how like dynasties are born, but they're like it's basically everything that happens with them is a like manifestation of their interpersonal politics. And that's really intriguing. That's something that I think the like mythology approach that Dark Souls takes like can never really touch, because everything is so impersonal in the world of Dark Souls in a way that it isn't in Elden Ring. And as a result, when you examine like systems of grief and systems of greed and like the actual cause behind the effects of a lot of these like repeating motifs in Miyazaki's works, you get like a document that is flavored very differently. You get a game that kind of approaches things from a very different perspective as the others. And that's kind of what I like about Elden Ring a lot, is that like it's so much about the finding of like a person and her flaws and her fears, and sort of the failure of her dynasty and how she attempts to atone or doesn't atone, or how like different aspects of her personality like are basically at war with each other. And that's like it extrapolates that out to everyone else too. Like every character in this game is super multifaceted. They have incredibly different motives, and they're often at war with themselves in many ways. And that's just like, that's like a really beautiful and interesting way to tell a story like this. It's why the type of storytelling that these games partake in really matters too, because everything is sort of scrambled and confused, and everything is there if you look for it, and the motives and the answers behind everything exist. But sometimes it's hard to see the full picture, and in particularly searching for the full picture, you get to know these people and these motivations so strongly, and it's just an intriguing. I hate these guys. Their attacks are weird. All right, so I've learned The boys are not needed for this fight, really. Yay. Kaiden Sellsword Ashes. Awesome. Again, Erd Tree Burial. Not Erd Tree Burial necessarily, but Root Burial. I'm sad I lost those 25,000 runes, but I also amassed them all over the course of this one episode of me just kind of fucking around and talking about stuff, so not really much of a loss.